Howdy, folks. Wonder Montage Survival here. This is episode 3 of Libby Underhill in Louisville. Um, got some exciting propositions going into this episode. I decided this is going to be 4 days worth of content because, well, one of them's the helicopter event, and it's a little low excitement. And another one is going to be some just basic base defense stuff, which is like very important but kind of boring, I would think, to watch unless it's new stuff to you. Then I will talk over how that stuff goes. But the base defense is the last day. So if you're here for that, you either scrub your way forward or just hang out for a minute and watch what is going to get to go down. Yeah. So this first day, now that we have the sledgehammer, I decided I wanted to get ammo for a shooting day. I had originally thought about having a shooting day this episode, but I realized I don't have beta blockers on me, and beta blockers are very necessary to be able to just have good accuracy. And we have the Become Desensitized mod set up on all my playthroughs, but I set it at a very high number. I believe it's between 5 and 10,000 kills is the number that I need in order to pull it off. So that's definitely a long ways down the line. Yeah, so in the meantime, in the meantime, we're going to have to find beta blockers before I'm able to have that. I also am trying to figure out where I would necessarily go have the shooting day, because the spawn neighborhood that I've been doing a lot of my looting in is pretty empty in terms of the zombie population. So I'm thinking I might even finish up all the scavenging that I have to do in there. I think that, and by the end of this episode, my fridge is completely full of food, which is a good problem to have. I'm just not too certain if I need to continue scavenging in the little spawn neighborhood. So we did go back to this little commercial zone that's over here on the southeast side of town, and looted that. We got a huge amount of ammo of all sorts. There's still guns and magazines and ammo to be had there, so we'll probably have to end up back there. I also decided to hit the little beer and liquor store. Not a whole lot in there, surprisingly, but I mean it's enough to get us started in terms of having that kind of stuff. Like I'm always saying, you gotta be prepping. This is definitely like a preparing kind of game, and we just been slowly acquiring all the things that we're gonna need in order to survive for a little while. We're also gonna end up cooking a lot of stews. Soups and stews are your friend. They're very filling. You can split them up. I have never figured out. I know there's some sort of bowl. What's what I'm looking for? like a bug in terms of the storage, where you can get more food, like more filling food by using empty bowls. I've never figured out how it works. I don't know if it's been fixed since I had seen it. I doubt it's been fixed. We're also going to work on getting up to level 2 carpentry right here, just so I can read the next carpentry book and kind of get that whole process underway. I'll probably end up coming out here early in the next episode too, in order to get ourselves up to level 4, and once we hit that, we'll be able to build water storage, water collection, which is going to be very necessary once the power goes out. Lots of inventory management. Always fun stuff to watch. I'm going to take a quick sip of my coffee. It's decaf. Can you believe that? I actually have a family history of caffeine abuse. I have not necessarily abused caffeine, but there's people in my family who have abused caffeine. And, I've like shown up to work before and just not being able to terminate wires because I was so jittery off of drinking like coffee, and I made the switch over to like half calf and decaf, and that has been like a game changer for me. I did not realize how much I just enjoyed the taste of caffeine, but didn't need or coffee, but I like didn't necessarily need the kick that it gives you. Highly recommend it if you're ever if you're one of those anxious sorts that is prone to abusing your chemicals, like a good thing you can always cut back on. So we go to bed at the end of the first day, and we're going to use the time in between wake up and when 8 a.m. when the automated broadcast system updates. For those who don't know, the automated broadcast system is a random bandwidth in the game, unlike all the other radio frequencies that are preset. So every save file it is totally different, so you have to kind of scavenge around for it. It tells you both the weather for today and tomorrow, whether or not there's going to be fog today or tomorrow, or rain. It warns you whether there's a thunderstorm coming out in the next 5 days, and it tells you if there is helicopter activity on that day, and today there is helicopter activity. So we're going to hide in our bedroom. I had kind of considered using a different room as the wig out room, but I wasn't too... The room we're in right now feels like the one that's kind of the most isolated from all the other possible points around the house, so I thought it was probably the best option. So I grabbed a stew and a couple of reading books, and for the first helicopter event, I kind of think it's fun not to fast forward through it, just to make yourself kind of feel the tension of when the helicopter is going to show up and how long it's going to hang out for. I believe today it showed up at noon, which is like pretty handy. I feel like for a long time before I was recording YouTube videos, it tended to show up really late in the day, like between like 3 and like 5 p.m. And that always kind of sucks because you end up just hanging out in your little depressing room, and your character gets really sad, and you don't bring enough books in with you or what have you. So we're just gonna take the day and we're gonna catch up on um, the skill build, like the book reading that we need to do. Um, and it was like literally right at noon. It showed up, and I was like, oh, how handy! This is wonderful. And we got a little hungry, had a little stew action, and we sat back down. And for the first couple of hours, it really seemed like the helicopter was like it was nearby, but it wasn't overhead, which was really nice. Um, but then, probably around 1:30 or 2, I didn't hear any zombies attacking like the windows, but I suddenly heard a window break, and I was like, well, that's that. We hang out in here, and if we have to make a stand, we make a stand in our bedroom. We'll just be silent until they show up. And the other thing is, like, is there one that broke the window? Did they get into the house? Is there a dozen? Are there 20 that broke in? Are they all just hanging out outside? Did they make their way into the space? Like, who's to say? Around 2:30, I heard the helicopter kind of go off, but I highly recommend waiting about an extra hour from the time that it sounds like the helicopter flies off, because sometimes it does kind of like go far away and then it comes back. But by about 3:40, I felt comfortable at least inspecting the house and just looking around to make sure to see the damages, and there was only the one window that had broken, and there was nobody inside, so we went out and kind of investigated who all was around the house, and there really wasn't anybody. So that was very reassuring to get to see, but I always feel like it's inevitable that if the first helicopter event is very light, that the second one kind of ends up being just a total mess in terms of the like number of zombies that show up. That's kind of neither here nor there. We ended up having a perfectly fine little party. It's about 8 that were all around, and then it was 6 o'clock, and I was like, okay, well, that's the day of gameplay. We'll eat some food and probably do some cooking and just kind of check on things around the house. Do some more skill building. Oh, I ended up cooking all of the tiny food scraps that had been left behind from no, that's another day. I ended up making a bunch of stews, and there's a lot of the food scraps that were left behind. I think it's tomorrow I'll end up cooking all of them as these tiny little morsels, and I'll eat all of them individually, which I thought was kind of funny. And so I'm also thinking, okay, well, tomorrow I want to go shooting. I had this bourbon. I'm like losing weight. I'm losing weight really aggressively, despite all the dog food, ice cream, and bourbon that I'm consuming, which is very worrisome. Like, I'm just kind of spooked by that. So yeah, we wake up this morning. I throw some jeans on, and I decide that I wanted today to be the big shooting day. But by the time I make it out and down to the spawn neighborhood, um, there's again, I don't have any beta blockers, and it's just worrisome in terms of our aim and our accuracy on in trying to like maintain horde management. Um, for those who don't know, like shooting a gun in this game is like really terrifying because the range on them is absurdly far, and so you have to be careful because you end up drawing really large groups over to you. Um, and so yeah, if you like fire a gun, you have to kind of be ready to fire a gun another 150 times. Um, so don't fire a gun unless you have just a ton of ammo with you. And I had prepped a big bag of ammo. I brought my shotgun. I was totally ready to do it, and then I realized, again, this is the third time I've said it, that, yeah, we just don't have beta blockers. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll continue scavenging the houses. I'm probably going to end up hopping onto the map in between finishing this voiceover and the next time I play, and kind of figuring out where the nearest like pharmacy is so that I can stock up on basic medicine and just be ready for an event like that, because I mean, I just want to shoot a gun. Like, we've really not done a lot of killing, even though there's been a lot of like horde management that's had to be done over this little rural road on our way in. There's just not been a lot of killing over the course of this game, which I mean is fine. I mean, like your biggest concern is long-term survival in this game, and then that's kind of it. I mean, you usually want to have a character just kind of last as long as you possibly can. And I mean, I was ready. I brought out like the trash bag full of shotgun shells. I had the shotgun on me, and I was just like, oh, no beta blockers. Okay, postpone. But it's sitting in our little supply closet on the house, just like ready. I'm very excited to be able to get carpentry up. That's kind of the thing that I'm most looking forward to moving forward, just because we're in a really sweet house, and the beautification component of this game takes so long, just because you have to go out and like individually pick up everything that you're looking for, or find all the supplies necessary to be able to like build the stuff that you want to build. I'm also working on Electrician, because I've finished reading the Electrician guide, Electrician 1, and would like to be able to get that skill up a little ways. We're probably going to be shooting to hot wire cars fairly soon. I also will have to read the mechanics guide, and probably have a long and boring day of working on mechanics. It's just a lot of UI type management. It's like not particularly interesting. I think it's actually one of the most boring skills in this game to like actually work on. Whereas a lot of the other skills are fairly like simple and accessible, and it's like very obvious how you level them up. Like mechanics is like just an absolute slog having to do that, to walk through the muck. But it's in the game, so it's something that you probably want to, if you're interested in it, you're certainly allowed to work on it. And it's always cool too, I mean, how this game, what do I want to say, allows for the intersection of the different skills to kind of come together. Like metalworking and mechanics kind of end up going hand in hand as you need cars, or like I have that RV trailer. That's going to be a really fun, like, long-term project. Getting to get that thing back into a more serviceable mode. I mean, it's so janky as things stand right now. But yeah, I mean, because Zomboid doesn't have like quests or like long-term goals, you kind of have to be the arbiter of how you want to play the game in the late game. I know a lot of people will also download like big map mods, so that they have locations that they can end up in, whether that's like Raven Creek or across the river, I think it's what it's called, over the river, or some of the more evil locations. There's like a cool medical facility I've seen people play in that's like particularly difficult. But I'm usually more of the type of person who plays a game fairly vanilla and will kind of add just small quality of life changes to the game as I need. Things to like help flesh out just like basic UI or access to mechanics, like game mechanics. I play with Foraging Z because most of Louisville doesn't have foraging zones designated in it, which I think is kind of absurd. I think a lot of the forests in the game as well are like not don't have designated zones to them. Oh, the other thing too was we'd gotten into like the scavenging part of today fairly late. It was probably about 11 when we got out. I just, it's about 6 p.m. when I decided to dip from where we were scavenging. But we're really good looking right now in terms of, I mean, both in general and in terms of where what's the word I'm looking for? Just where we are in terms of supplies. We have a lot of good long-term supplies set up, and we know where our neighborhoods are. So this is what I was talking about, where I was like, I just cooked a bunch of morsels. Oh, I did eat uncooked food. That's funny. I thought I hadn't. We ended up getting queasy tonight. I got really worried that this character was literally going to die. I thought that I had cooked all of those food items, and I was like, where is this coming from? And we had. We actually did eat raw food. That's my bad. But we survived it, which I'm grateful for, because we have the weak stomach trait. I was really worried that we were going to take one for the team, as we sometimes say. And so today I am thinking about the one zombie that broke a window, and the possibility of, during our next helicopter event, there being even more hordes that make their way out. I've sort of been collecting planks as I find them in some of the various sheds in the spawn neighborhood. A thing you can do too in this game is you can craft sheet ropes and rip sheets from zombies, or just from clothing, and you can stack logs, and it makes them very lightweight to carry around, instead of having to walk around with the like 12 units that, or 9 units that make up one log. You can stack like 4, it's between 2 and 4 together, and they just become much more lightweight. saw in order to cut them into planks. And at first I was like, oh man, we got a lot of logs, it's always enough, and it's like never enough. So I will end up going back and cutting down a few more trees. I'd also contemplated covering both the doors, and then I was like, I don't really want to. I kind of enjoy having backyard access through this door. I don't use it that often, but I think as the game goes on a little bit longer, I'll probably end up doing a little porch project. So I was just like, it's fine for us to leave this blocked. We'll if I end up getting screwed by it later, I mean, yeah, it's my own fault. So I'm grabbing more sheet ropes, coming back out. We're going to cut down a couple more trees. Not a whole lot. At first I thought this would, when I began doing this process, the first time I thought it would take quite a while to like get planks from it, but it's actually like one of the most efficient ways to gather planks in this game. So I do like highly recommend doing this. It's also good for your carpentry skill. Yeah. And some people will tell you, if you put just 2 planks on a window, you can still see through it. I just decide to put 4 on each side because, I mean, we have the resources to be able to do it. Because I have, like, loot spawns, mainly on rare for most things, it's, like, pretty easy to find more nails. I end up eventually usually passing on boxes of nails because we'll just have like literally 2,000 nails like sitting around the house. And unless we were to completely like redo the hardwood inside of the house or something, like we don't really need that many nails. We still end up going through about 150 in order to put 4 on all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 6 windows that I end up covering. And then all the remainder, we'll just move out to this little shed out here. It'll kind of be the timber shed. I think, yeah, this will kind of end up being like the timber shed. And I think that the other, like, outbuilding that we have will kind of end up being like our little mechanical, like, garage. But as far as, like, base defense goes, besides literally building a like log wall around the place, we're actually about as defended as I feel like we like necessarily need to be. We're pretty isolated out here, which feels weird to say in Louisville, but we are. And this will end up being a good like deposit spot, like a dump spot for all of our crap. Later on down the line, when we end up going a little further into Louisville, we'll probably end up using some other buildings as well as like small safe houses. But that's almost a month or 2 in, just because we have so many of our needs like so handily accommodated. And we're just doing a little bit more stew prep, and I mean that's kind of it. I'm kind of in the outro at this point. It's kind of the big updates so far. Wanted to do a shooting spree today. I didn't. We had our first helicopter, which was really nice. And now we are fairly defended out here as well. So things are looking pretty good here for Libby. I'm excited to get to continue to work on like this house and getting to find more plants and more forage things to stick around here. Anyways, like, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. It's very sweet. Yeah, take care. Hope your day's going good. Bye.